Get your final snacks, take your seats. We are about to begin SBVR meetup number 11. While you get settled, we have some highlights from the conference. Enjoy.
I'm so glad he made it. Let me grab it and turn off right back.
SBVR is giving us a glimpse of the future.
I saw Mach walk by.
SBVR is the future. SBVR is like the biggest movement I've ever experienced. SBVR.
My project is SBVR. So yeah, I put this together. I started to do that just 1 year and 2 days ago today.
I'm making a virtual reality game to help people out busy hours with their vision.
I represent VRLA.
I've talked to 6 months.
We all be looking to get around to make the phones have it. And so my hope to complete all our that. I'm working on a bunch of more this year.
SBVR is a playground for grown-ups.
SBVR was a phenomenal experience. SBVR is the best ever so far. SBVR is great.
Mach is an end-to-end 3D media platform. It's a very easy way to capture, process, and do 3D models.
SBVR is the place to cross-pollinate and share ideas. Everybody's here.
The ecosystem, awesome companies, a lot of good technology.
Creating a community.
Super exciting times to make it happen.
The vibe here is just amazing. We started something much bigger.
Woo!
Awesome. All right. Man, the conference was such a blast. We are just still reeling from all of the connections, the spirit and energy, and just amazing feedback that we got that's been so incredibly positive from everyone. So thank you for being so supportive and being there, those of you that were there, and for those of you that are new today, welcome to the SBVR meetup. This is how it all started. This is number 11. I'm your MC for today. I'm Matic Bruce, VR evangelist and developer relations at Altspace VR. So I am happy to MC the events, and that's fine. We are going to, as usual, have a few people come up, talk about what projects they're working on and what technologies they have, and then after that, we are going to change this room and transform it into a demo utopia. We'll have demo stations all over the place, which should be a lot of fun. So let's get things rolling. We're going to start off right away with Ed Mason from GameFace. He's going to show us a little bit about a new prototype, the Mark V, and Mary just stepped into the room. It's very exciting. It has huge lenses, and it is totally wireless Android device. Very cool. So let's welcome Ed Mason to the stage.
Hello, everyone. Thank you very much. So, I'm a quick talker. I'm not going to be taking too much of your time. there is another gadget somewhere. I'll pull it out in a moment. I just wanted to have a few minutes of your time to show you a little bit more about what it is we're doing. So obviously, we have made the Mach 5, which is our latest version of an Android-based headset. This is 2.5K display panel, for those who don't know, featuring next generation SoC and some pretty cool technology within. Now, as far as GameFix Labs goes, we're more than just a hardware company. And for a long time, since about 2009, we've been developing various 3D cloud gaming platforms, a few bits and pieces that we've now combined into what we feel is going to be the backbone of our platform. And effectively, what we're doing is putting together technology that can be easily used to create what we feel will be the metaverse, and an open source metaverse at that. The idea that we've seen things like Google Cardboard coming out very recently, and we've seen that there are now big guys interested in the idea that you can put a phone in a case and have a decent VR experience. That being said, you're still going to be lacking in the overall experience that you will receive. It's still not going to be as high-end as, say, the Rift or Sony for obvious reasons. That being said, we do feel that there is still demand for a slightly higher caliber version of what the cardboard will ultimately be like. And so we've started piecing together this prototype. But we know over the next few years, hardware is going to get sort of more and more commonplace, and we're going to see more of these Android-based headsets coming out onto the market, be it a phone in case or an actual all-in-one unit. And so that being in mind, we've started focusing more on the platform. We realized that the only differentiating factor between these headsets in the next few years will be the software within, because obviously the same display panels will be available to everyone, the same chips, everything is going to be pretty much commonplace. So we started building up our user interface and, of course, our content, our selection of sort of games, of demos, of movies, and all these sorts of things. This is one of the demos that we have that we're going to be releasing into the wild for Google Cardboard users very soon. This is our user interface, and this is just a little preview of the UI. Obviously, with a phone that you put inside your case, you are somewhat restricted, just as you are with a PC and a Rift, where you don't have that seamless sort of transition between game to UI, back to another game. Every time you want to load up something else, you have to take the headset off. It's a bit of a kerfuffle to sort of get the experience that you want. So our view is, because we're all in case, because all the content is installed on the actual device itself, and because you don't need to use it as a mobile phone or anything, we can develop our user interface to be solely tailored towards virtual reality devices, or augmented reality devices, or wearable visual devices, if you will. So this is just a very quick snippet of our home screen. You can see we have arcade machines littered all around the room. These are applications and demos of games themselves. We also have instructions. We have, within our SDK, the ability to adjust for IPD. So obviously, if you can now adjust lenses, which we've offered in the Mach 5, just moving the lenses themselves is not quite enough. You need to also move virtual cameras as well. So our SDK will do this in place, so you can also adjust the physical lenses as well as the IPD. And we have a whole bunch of sort of random content ranging from emulators to actual demos that have been built from the ground up. We're working with DVD, with Tridef gentlemen over here, who have created some fantastic 3D injection drivers so that we can render existing Android-based content into true stereo 3D. That being said, we also have something we haven't been too vocal about recently, which is our cloud distribution platform. And this is something that we'll be showing a little bit more once the dev kit's around, but it's effectively a cloud platform that can deliver content between 20 and 100 times faster than the Google Play Store can, or the iOS or any other sort of digital distribution platform. And so all of these technologies we're building into a VR OS, which is effectively something that we're going to package together to be a downloadable OS that will work on top of Android. So let's say you have a Google Cardboard, you want to play some games, you can just load on this user interface and have access to all of the content and all of the demos that we put together. This is something that we feel that obviously with the hardware all getting very much commonplace, the only differentiating factor will be the software, and as such we really want to have a very robust platform input to not just ourselves, but to any Android-based VR device that will come to market, such as Duraviz, the Ultigaze, the Cardboard, these sorts of things. And so really what we're trying to do is not just the hardware, it's building up a platform that is open source and is based on Android that will allow people to just jump straight in and have a really good VR experience regardless of the device that they're using. So yeah, in a nutshell, that's pretty much what we've been up to over the past few months. If anyone wants a demo of the UI, it will be up and running over the course of the afternoon. We also have the Google Windy Day, I think it's called, the Google Cardboard demo that we just came out with the other day. So if you wanted to see what that looks like in 2.5K, come and have a look. It looks very good for me. But thank you all very much. I'll leave you to it. Yes? Any questions, please? Go for it. I always forget. Anyone? Didn't know anything about what we're doing. Yes, sir.
I saw you at VR Cinema and VR Chat. What's that all about?
Yes, indeed. So, so VR Chat, I think we've probably spoken to at least a few people in this room within VR Chat. We have a cross-platform version of VR Chat where for those who don't know, it's effectively a chat application that you launch yourself into. You're in one of 4 locations, a cafe, an art gallery, one of a few different places that you can then have other Oculus Rift users, or now in this case GameFace users, log into. So you can plug a headset into the other side of GameFace, and then we can converse with yourselves on the Rift and myself on GameFace. So we've had a couple of these online meetups and these VR chat meetups where we had publicly had cross-platform demonstration work. So that's the VR chat. The VR cinema application, on the other hand, is, I mean, what you'd imagine it is basically a virtual cinema. So you can watch rectangular 2D, 3D content in a virtual environment. So let's say you're on a plane, you want to watch a movie or something, you can load it up and you don't have to keep turning your head left and right, you just have your rectangular screen up in front of you. One of my favorite applications on here has got to be the Dreamcast emulator, which has been hacked not only to allow stereo 3D, but also to increase the field of view. So where you'd usually have just a 4:3 screen, now we've got a much wider field of view and actually takes up your entire field of view now. So it's, while head tracking is not there, it's still a pretty cool, nostalgic experience to be able to load up and to play around with the emulator games. Yes. Awesome. Anyone else? Yes, sir.
What's the battery life of your device?
So on the 2.5K one, we get about 4.5 hours, depending on screen brightness and what's being played. And that will increase significantly for the developer kits. We have about a 43 milliampere battery in there at the moment, but we will be increasing that quite a bit for the next version.
How much does the Mark pipe weigh?
So I'm not really going to say, I'm afraid. We're aiming the dev kit will be less than a pound. That's all I can say. Yes.
What's the poly count?
Again, I'm sorry to say we can't say yet. We're still in the process of deciding what SoC to use for the dev kit. So up until we know exactly what hardware we're using, we're toying between the Tegra K1 and the Snapdragon 805 at the moment. So I can't really say exactly which one. Sorry. Yes.
Okay, so since you mentioned pound, I'll tell you in Twitter pound. So.
Oh, sorry. Yes.
Yeah, breaks down a pound, but I thought, so then that question comes, what's the name of the price going to be?
Sorry, say it again?
What's the price you aim at? You want to aim at?
We're aiming, I mean, it's very, very early days to say. We're really aiming at about $500. Obviously, we have our digital distribution platform, which is our bread and butter, so to speak, so we don't need to make money off of the hardware. It will be sold in cost. It's the sort of thing that this is pretty much a mean for an end. We love hardware, we love the headset itself, but as we said, we know there'll be a lot of big people coming in to do a very similar idea. And so rather than us combating solely on a hardware point of view, we started putting our sort of planning towards building up a platform which we've started speaking to sort of the likes of Epson, who make these glasses, I mean a whole bunch of different companies that are now getting involved, have said that they are interested in licensing technologies, various technologies, be it user interface or just a combination of other technologies, to sort of show off their devices themselves. Yes?
So just to be clear, this can all be basic brokering content for your VROS?
Yeah, exactly. Oh, yes? Again, I'm sorry to say I can't say, solely because we're upgrading our display panel, and so it wouldn't be fair to tell you this one, sorry. Yes, anyone else? Yes, sir.
You control hardware and software, so you're in a pretty nice position to help dictate the interface paradigm going forward. So what do you guys have in mind for interaction paradigm?
Good question. I mean, over what we've shown off of the user interface, again, I'm really sorry, I can't say too much about what our plans are. It's very early stages, and obviously with our web chat now getting involved, we have to be extra careful what we disclose. But we will have a user interface that's accessible and usable and pretty robust by the time we have development that's going out in about 6 months' time. So it is just around the corner. As soon as I'm able to sort of talk a little bit more about it, there will be a press release going on, because the platform itself is, I mean, the hardware is awesome, virtual reality is awesome, but really what I am really excited about is the software and the platform, and what we can do with the platform, not only today, but in the future. I mean, the way I see it at the moment, the idea for the metaverse and Facebook's idea is they have a big universe with a huge big planet top with lots of people on that planet, and that's the face of the metaverse in my mind. I don't believe that's the right way for the metaverse to move down. I think it needs to be, everyone has their own miniature planet, if you will, and we're showing that off in the case of our user interface, where my user interface will have applications installed, which you may not have installed on your user interface, but using our cloud distribution platform, I can invite your avatar into my user interface, and you would have immediate access to all of the content I've installed on my device, on your device, without any risk of piracy. And this is the idea that this is our view of the metaverse. I should just be able to have my own personal space that I've customized as I see fit, and I should be able to invite you over and enjoy it, rather than me just sort of coexisting in a similar sort of Facebook homepage that everyone will end up having views. So this is our view with the future of the metaverse, and we do have the platform and technology to be able to deliver in a secure fashion huge amounts of content very quickly. So, cool. Yes?
Okay, so you mentioned about Oculus Rift and all that. If I have an Oculus Rift, can I use your operating system and access the laser and all that?
I mean, today probably not, but certainly as and when Oculus make the move into having an onboard SoC, I can't see any reason why not. And this is very much an open platform that we want everyone to be using and everyone to be contributing to. Yes?
Do you get any camera and AR?
So we have been playing around with a few AR bits and pieces. As it stands, the generation of SoCs that we're using, I don't feel are quite powerful enough to be able to have a high enough refresh rate with a decent enough resolution. That will change very soon. Again, by the time we have a consumer version out, we expect to have enough stereo cameras in there that are somewhat high resolution, but at least very, very fast refresh rates. Cool. Anyone else? Yes?
Any nod towards open source, open community on your VROS?
Say it again, sorry?
Any nod towards open source, open community?
It's all going to be open source. I can't stress how much we're big fans of open source. I think that's really the fastest and best way of building things these days is getting the whole world to help. And I mean, I've come from a very much a sort of a hacking and tweaking background myself, and so I appreciate, and I mean, this is why we were drawn so much to Android in the first place. It's the largest open platform out there. And you can do things with Android that you can never even dream of doing with iOS. And it's this idea that virtual reality itself is still such a new technology. Nobody knows anything about it to some degree. I mean, there's still so many unknown unknowns that people will only find out once they've made that risk into sort of going out and exploring. So the sort of thing that, yeah, it's time will tell. But I think as far as open source goes, it needs to be open. It needs to be able to get the sort of the collective brain power of the whole world working together. So that's something we will be doing very closely. Yes.
So for an input, are you looking at a metaphor for like a visual space, so like you select objects instead of menus or anything?
So I mean, this is pretty much how the user interface works at the moment. You can look at any one of these applications, and as you can see, like a jukebox, once you look at the arcade machine rather, you can see an eye appeared. So then you look in the general direction of one asset, then an eye will appear within each of the eye that will launch the application. That's the same.
How will you move around the space?
So as it stands, you don't move around this space. But once we've obviously gotten to the stage where, let me back up a little bit. So the UI itself, we don't want to make people actually have to traverse through the user interface because you're normally going to be seated while you're using it. So we want it to just be sort of a look-controlled, directional control to begin with. However, if it gets to the stage that you have too many applications, we still don't want to make the avatar get removed. We want to just be able to scroll through the applications in front of you. Again, this is setting from the seated experience. We really, from the application point of view, we really want you to sort of pretty much remain seated, be in it as we share, so you can still turn 360 degrees, but nonetheless, we don't need to be actually traversing through the user interface itself, not yet. Yes?
How would you guys so
Sorry, a little bit louder?
how would you guys have sound so
It's going to be somewhat similar to the Play Store, so you're just going to have effectively a front end that you can download a whole host of content directly from and install over Wi-Fi on your device. No? Awesome. Well, thank you very much, everyone. Yes? So one last one.
So, is it wireless built in, or you have to connect by your
To what, sorry?
download stuff?
Oh, no, it's completely wireless. Completely, yeah. Keeping clear of those awful things. Right, well, thank you all very much. Yes?
Excellent. Definitely make sure to give GameSpace a try. It's awesome. It's the latest prototype is really impressive. Fantastic. Moving on, we're going to have a group come up to discuss some real space 3D audio from VisiSonics. So I'm very excited about this. I think sound is one of those overlooked things in VR, but nevertheless is extremely important. So I'm looking forward to hearing from VisiSonics. Let's welcome them to the stage.
So my name is Greg. VisiSonics is a spin out of the University of Maryland's Computer Science Department. And what we've done is we've created an algorithm that actually can place sound of any XYZ coordinate over stereo headphones. About 8 to 10 years ago, 3 PhDs and a grad student started working on helping newly blinded soldiers cross the street in a lab using stereo headsets. So they need to learn to trust their ears instead of their eyes. So they had to be able to capture ambient sounds in the street corner and replace those in stereo headsets just as if it happened in the real world. This forced them to learn how human beings process sound. So you're probably familiar with HRTFs. It forced us to then capture HRTFs instantaneously. So we patented a way of capturing individual HRTFs. And once we captured hundreds of those, we then understood that when human beings process sound, you get a tone, but you're getting thousands of versions of that tone. Depending on the room size, the textures of the wall, all that sound is going to be different. So to recreate natural sound, you have to account for all 3 legs of that stool: HRTF, room size, and textures. So our algorithms, our plugin, for today, the Unity gaming engine for Windows, Mac, iOS, and Android allows you to use HRTF's ability, and eventually you'll be able to capture some, adjust room sizes, and adjust textures of walls inside the game. So tonight, what we're going to show you is a pair of stereo headsets. We're going to use a Polhemus device and show you how we can play sound anywhere in space. We also have a Tuscany demo where we've added 3D sounds into that demo. So the street fountain, the water fountain, we put a helicopter engine on the butterfly, we put a speaker up on the ceiling. Unfortunately, that laptop is dead. So tonight we're going to get the Polhemus piece done, which, Carl, you saw at E3. And I think that'll convince you, A, that the algorithm works, and then in August we'll come back and show the other demo, but at the same time you can go to a website, I'll have some cards, you can actually download our beta version of the Unity plugin and use it for free. So if you've got a game you've already developed, you can turn it into 3D sound. Okay? Any questions? Just make them not technical.
All right. Not too technical, but I know one of the issues with 3D sounds, even though they use HRTFs, is that it's really good when it comes to this plane, but getting this is not too good. So how does that pan out? How does that perform?
I'd like you to be the first one to go through the demo.
Awesome.
You're right. I mean, it's a lot of what's out there that's called 3D sound is a lot of binaural planning. You know, it's what we call a hula hoop effect.
Yeah.
You can get the left and the right and kind of a little bit in front. Distance is tough. Up above is tough. No one does behind. I'll give you behind. It's pretty awesome. And the fact that once, and then there's head tracking involved, so we've created a really basic terrain game. We're not gamers, we don't know how to make games. We're kind of sound people. So we've created a very basic terrain game, and we put multiple devices in the space that have different sounds. So you can walk up to them, walk underneath them, walk past them, and the sound, based on where your head is, where you are, that sound follows. The fact that the Oculus has head tracking makes the experience that much better. So, any other questions? Yes?
So are you going to be able to show how the plugin works at all?
You know, it's just like, my understanding is just like using Fmod that's built into Unity already. It's really easy. Unfortunately, our CTO was at 3M today. Our other co-founder is in Russia. So I'm the only guy, unfortunately. But I could either set up a conference call with Adam or with Rod, our game developer. They can walk you through it.
Yeah.
It's pretty easy. We went to the University of Maryland in Baltimore County, gave it to 3 students. In 15 minutes, they had sound, 3D sound, from a game they'd already developed. So it's pretty easy to use. And once you download it, you can test it yourself.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Does that let you make use of textures too?
Yes, and it's interesting because the room size, you can not only assign numbers to it, but we have the capability of changing the box size. So as you walk into the box, the sound turns on. As you get closer to the device, it gets louder. You go to the left, it goes to the left. So it's we try not to overkill with a lot of bass. What we try to do is create the most natural sounding audio in gaming. So in traditional gaming, you know, be able to, in a first-person shooter, you hear someone behind you, instead of you find out once they've hit you or shot you, now you can hear them step on a twig. Big difference. When you get to virtual reality, it's like 1 and 1 equals 3, because the brain uses both visual and audio to process that space, and the fact that as enhanced as this is, as immersed as the experience is, I think it adds a lot to the overall experience. And I mean, you saw it, so.
I agree.
Yeah.
And I'll say that the up-down, you guys have a very good demo, a very impressive demo on getting the up and down as well as left and right.
You're good. We also had a lot of the VR hardware folks who came by our booth at E3, and they all thought it was great. I don't want to oversell it. I'd rather come over and test it. Yes?
2 things. One is, could you repeat the questions? And second, can't it be used in real time? So what kind of microphone system do you need?
Okay, so can you repeat the question? Was the first question. Can we use it real time? As we started looking at what the technology can do, there's three things it can do. One is create 3D sound anywhere in stereo headsets in gaming. Two, recreate surround sound in cinema. So you can take a DVD, put it in your laptop or a tablet, download it to your tablet, and you can experience surround sound, stereo headsets. And then music, we've got another technology with a partner of ours that can take stereo music, upmix it to 5:1 or 7:1, and then we download that 5:1 to stereo headsets. So in the gaming world, we could either look at processors, we could look at putting it in the headsets themselves, or give the game developer the ability to choose what sounds on what objects, what number of sounds, and how they want that to interact. So I guess to answer your question, you take sounds that's currently in the FMOD library in Unity, and I'm not a programmer, I'm not a developer, so I don't know a lot about that. And you just run it through our engine. It takes that sound and gives you the ability to create front, back, up, down, anywhere. I don't know if that answered your question. Probably not. Sorry. Okay.
When will Unreal 4 support become available? Yes.
One more time?
When will Unreal 4 support become available?
Good question. So when will it be available for Unreal? So Unity was the first plugin we developed, and it's ready now. We're going through some beta, and then it'll be put in the asset store. The next is Wise, a plugin for the Wise engine. We already spoke with those folks. They're waiting for us to get it done. And then FMOD Studio. I don't know if you've used FMOD Studio, but a plugin for FMOD Studio. And then Unreal, Pi, et cetera, et cetera. But our understanding from folks that we spoke to at GDC was, so long as you make it available in Wise and in FMOD Studio, that takes care of a large part of the population. And then, of course, getting to Unreal and Cry. We started off with Unreal, and we get a lot of feedback that Unity should be first. It was fastest growing, and of course, in the VR space, I guess a lot of folks are using Unity. I understand.
Do you have APIs? Are you going to have APIs controlling the Unity behavior?
Right.
What's that? API? Is there going to be an API?
So I mean, there's a low-level API for the audio, low-level audio transformations, and then I'm actually not sure if Unity plugin is an API.
No.
I would imagine it's fine.
We'll write down all the questions that we're not able to answer.
No, that's fine.
Okay. In the back?
Yeah, so are you guys actually generating the sound based on physical objects in the environment, or is it just contributed inside the 3D space in the game?
So we're taking current sounds in the library and run it through our engine so you can place it anywhere.
But is the sound based off of an object in the scene, or is it just in the 3D space you put in the scene with contributing?
Make sure I understand the question.
So I mean, basically the engine just requires, XYZ coordinates relative to the listener. So essentially in the game, you would just attach like sound to a moving object, and it was signal to the API and play the sound as the object would fly. What's your answer to the question?
So it's not different than normal entertainment.
What's that?
It's no different than normal sound entertainment.
Right. I mean, the only additional thing is you have to set your room size, your reflectivity coefficients for the walls. But other than that, it's just modeling your sound.
Other questions?
Is it outdoors?
Yeah, so the terrain game, if you download that, in fact, if you go to the website, and I got a card over here, it's realspace3daudio.com, we actually have a video of the game, and it's out in a huge field, and as you get closer to these objects, the sound turns on, you go underneath them left, right, so, yeah, I don't know what the parameters on the size of the outside could be, but it's within realness, I guess. If you're 500 yards away, I'm not going to hear a car running. But as you get closer, it turns on. You can set those parameters. Okay, I think you said that was the last question.
Absolutely. You have to have more questions?
So we'll be over here in the corner. Thank you for your time.
All right, thank you very much. I can't wait to try that. Yeah, excellent. Oh man, sounds so huge. Very excited to hear about 3D sound. All right. We're going to roll right along, but first I want to give a shout out to all the people that are watching live in Rip Max Theater right now in VR. What's up, people? All right, excellent. Trying to make this thing even more virtual than it already is. So next up, we are going to hear from 6 Sense. Is that correct? That's still happening? Awesome. And from what I understand, no photos and no video of what's being shown, or is anything going to be shown, or just a talk?
That's cool.
All right, it's fine. So, all right, let's welcome her to the stage.
So I would like to take this opportunity, as always, we always share with SVVR first everything new that we do. So I would like to tell you that 6 Sense VR SDK is currently support fully Android, meaning we support mobile VR. It's working shockingly well with off-the-shelf phones. And I can tell you shockingly well because I can share with you our surprise of how well Android can run VR at 60 Hertz and how well the experience works with, again, off-the-shelf phones. And it's not necessarily just one specific phone. We have a very, surprisingly great experience, HMD, that allows you to just drop your phone in it. And I almost got permission to bring it in today. Almost. Until this morning, it was done, and then we just got, after a phone call this morning, it was basically at least delayed until the next one. Next month, I promise you, and I promise you the experience is something that will make you even happier and more excited about VR, because we tell you from our experience, it is going to be a VR experience to the extent that I would say to you, it makes VR accessible and available to all of us. And with next generation phones, it's going to be better than DK2 of the current DK2 of Oculus. So hopefully you believe me, and within a month, we will share it with you. I will not be able to answer any more questions beyond what I just said. And please don't ask Owen as he shows you our new Fusion sensing that we just announced lately, and with all the features we added to our STEM. Please don't ask him any questions. He's our lead engineer, lead programmer, and as a good technologist, he loves to talk about technological advancements. I warned him in advance. I will take this opportunity and offer you to ask any questions about what we just announced and shown in the last LA VR. We just showed our latest and greatest improvements. We call it fusion sensing on the STEM. And if you have any questions about that, feel free to ask. No, I just see a good friend. Yes.
What version of Android?
No, I'll give you the answer in a part answer that I just in part of my announcement. Every current, meaning the latest Android release, work extremely well. Extremely well, with full presence. Meaning everything that you see today on our demo, running better, because we're going to show it to you with DK1. It runs better on the mobile device that you can buy today in every store. And again, as I say it, I can tell you, I am surprised that I can say that. Any other questions? Cool. Thank you very much.
All right. Exciting and mysterious phrases from here, as usual. All right, here we go. Moving on, we're going to finish up with a talk from Mike. He's going to talk about the VR hackathon that's upcoming. Oh, man. Yeah, we need to have more of those. I'm very excited to hear about it, so let's welcome Mike to the stage. Come on.
Hi everyone, I'm Mike Durto. I'm representing the Web3D Consortium. We are having a VR hackathon October 17, 18, and 19. We are nailing down the venue now. We have one in the South Bay, although we are looking to get one in San Francisco. But South Bay is the fallback, sorry. I live here too, but I'd rather. Anyway, we have some sponsors already, Autodesk, Unity, Palmer agreed to throw in 2 DK2s. The Web3D Consortium is throwing in the cash prizes total up to $3,000. So we'll have that probably in 3 different categories. And this is sort of a 2-stage plug, just to let you know a little bit about the Web3D Consortium. We are a standards organization that creates an open, royalty-free specification for 3D over the web. We had a 3D environments running on WebGL 2.5 years ago within a browser. We are probably the only ones, I think, who are doing volumes within a browser now over WebGL. And I think it's really important that the consortium reaches out to this community because we're going to have a democratization of 3D content. As you know, everyone in this room probably knows how hard it is to do 3D content, but with Project Tango, with Apple buying PrimeSense, with the Intel Perceptual Computing partnership with Creative, you're going to get a lot of 3D content that you can sort of create pretty easily, but you're going to be able to want to move that creative content between platforms, between hardware devices, and this is what we're about. We're about creating a standard that everyone can use, that's open, that's free, and then it's 2 things. It's not only a sort of a transfer, a file transfer protocol, or not a protocol, but a file transfer specification, but it's also a runtime that's declarative. So you can throw any physics engine, you can throw any rendering engine on it, just using the runtime spec. And I think that's really important. So for this community now, as it's starting to grow, and you're going to have content that you work hard to create, you want it to run on every platform. So that's what we're about. So I hope to see a lot of you there at the VR Hackathon. That sponsor list is just what we've done in probably the past 3 weeks. So we're going to have a heck of a lot more sponsors there, and it should be a really good show. Thanks for your attention.
That's very, very exciting. Great, well, we're just about to go into our demo section, but first I want to hear some words from Carl, the founder of SVR. And then after that, demos abound. So, Carl,
all right,
give us a good one.
Thanks, everyone. I just wanted to repeat Bruce's sentiments and say thanks to everyone who came out to the SVDR conference. It was a huge success. We totally sold out of tickets. We had 30 plus exhibitors, and it was, it's really inspired us to go, at least twice as big next year. And I think we planted a flag and said that VR is not just one company or 2 companies now. It's an ecosystem. It's an industry. And and we gave that industry a home. So hopefully there will be a lot more homes across the country and across the world. And VR groups are popping up in pretty much every major city. RTP just had a big one last night. The Sacramento guys have one tomorrow. There's a couple new ones in San Francisco. I think we have an SFVR on next Tuesday. So please go to all of these events. They all have this magic energy because it's not just separate communities, it's one VR community meeting up everywhere they can. So yeah, just encourage you all to support all of these events, and let's keep this thing going.
Yeah.
All right.
All right. With that, there's one.
I forgot to say something. We already mentioned the website's going to be up tonight. It's vrhackathon.com, and our Twitter handle is vrhackathon. So you can check it out and start registering.
Nice. Quoted that URL. That's awesome. All right. Beautiful. Well, this concludes the presentation section of SVPR. We're not going to break into demo stations. So we have 6 Ints showing off some things. We have VisiSonics showing off some things. AJ's over here has an interesting demo, which I'd like to see. Aaron from the Mnemonic side. Oh my God. Here from Austin. All the way from Austin, man. And he's here, he's in town, so definitely check that out. Tactical Tactics is in the house. That's awesome. I don't know what's up. Oh, there we go. That girl Stomps is in the house as well. So definitely check those things out. Oh, and back there we got some interesting AR things going on back there. I know that the lady dancing on the table. What's that?
Double me.
Oh, what?
Double me.
Double me. Yes, very good. Excellent. Yes, very cool stuff. Just check that out. Check it out.
Julian has
What does Julian have?
It's a Mach 3D.
A mic?
Mach 3D. It's about from 5 years ago. Worked with an iPhone that's still on there.
Ah, yeah, I remember that thing.
It's like Viewmaster on the iPhone.
Nice. Viewmaster on iPhone. Yes, check that out. Yes, everyone's making their Oculus thrifts nowadays. I love it. Awesome. Excellent. Well, with that, we're going to rearrange the room, transform the space, check out some demos. Make sure to talk with the people too, get to know some of the people around you, collaborate. We want to have some projects out of this, man. This is a beautiful space. So thank you so much. And we have T-shirts for sale as well. How much? See, Nana. There's some price. Nana will tell you once you get there. T-shirts, get them. All right. Thank you. Let's demo it up.